2024 is officially here, so let's talk about the 10 best movies from 2023. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody, to another ranking video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but now that 2024 is here, I wanted to kind of recap and talk about my 10 favorite movies from 2023. I'll probably also be posting a worst movies of 2023, so you can definitely expect that soon. And yeah, let me know down in the comments what your favorite movies of 2023 were. I think I saw a total of like 71 movies this year. Not as much as I wanted to, but definitely still a lot. Right before we dive in, if you are new here, consider hitting that subscribe button, letting me know that you enjoy the content that I put out here. And without further ado, let's dive into my top 10 favorite movies of the year. Coming in at number 10, I have Thanksgiving. This was a movie that, if you guys saw my review for it, which I'll put somewhere here in the link in the description, when I went into this movie, I was thinking, I'm excited, but I'm cautiously excited because I wanted it to be really good, and the trailers looked really good for it. Well, when I went in to go see it, I was pleasantly surprised on just how good the theme was, how good the actual kills were, and just how good everything overall was. I believe there's even talks to make a sequel, so hopefully that happens. Definitely one of my favorite surprises of the year. Coming at number 9, I have Godzilla -1. I originally was not planning on seeing this movie. It kind of was like, it was there, like I knew about it and I knew I was going to get to it eventually. Well, I heard so many people tell me to go see this movie that I decided, hey, you know what? I am going to go see this movie. And wouldn't you know it, it became one of my favorite monster movies of all time. One of my favorite monster movies is Godzilla King of Monsters. I was a really big fan of that. I really loved that movie. But this just blew that out of the water, in my opinion. I mean, this movie's fantastic. Just fantastic. And just, I don't know, like, I got kind of Jaws vibes from it, like with the water scenes and just like the way that they were all trying to like stay on land but to capture this monster. Definitely one of my favorites. At number 8, I have Oppenheimer. You knew this was going to be on my list because if you've been with me for a while, you know that Christopher Nolan is my favorite director. And how could I not love this movie? It's absolutely fantastic. When I went into seeing this movie, I had been hyped up for months. When I saw the trailers, I was like, yes, this is what I want. When I went in for the first time, I had a great time. The score was fantastic, but I felt like there were a lot of things that I missed. So I went in for a second time, and honestly, the second time is where this became one of my favorite movies of the year. I got to learn so much more just by like kind of taking everything in, everything that I saw in the first one, combining it with the second viewing, and just the way that Cillian Murphy, like his different face, like his face is so expressive, but also like knows when to be like dead inside. And you can just see that, and it really lets you know like the big stuff that happens, like when the big like wrong things that happen, like when they use the bomb for Hiroshima, you could see how much it bothers him. And just from a cinematography point of view and how much buildup there is to everything in this movie, especially with Matt Damon, easily makes it my number 8 of the year. And at number 7, I have The Iron Claw, a movie that I just recently saw. It was actually my final movie that I saw right before the end of the year, and I absolutely loved it. I won't lie, I'm not a big fan of wrestling, or just I would say I don't know much about it. When I heard the cast for this, including Zac Efron amongst many others, I was instantly like, yes, I need to go see this. Well, I never could have imagined me crying over a wrestling movie, but here I am in the theater watching each of these boys go one by one, and just the way that it happens, I would even go as far as to say that this is Zac Efron's best performance, period. I think he did a spectacular job in this movie, and I think not only did Zac Efron do fantastic, Jeremy White did fantastic, amongst many others. Those were my 2 favorites definitely in the movie. I think what got me most is that it had, first of all, it had that like retro style to it, right? But it also just like reminds you of brotherhood and family and what it's like to lose family in pursuit of your dreams, and then like they had the father pushing them way too hard, and it's just a very emotional story that kind of just really grabs you by the heart. Coming in at number 6, I have Gran Turismo. Easily my most surprising movie of the year. If you told me that Gran Turismo, of all movies, would be in my top 10 for the year, I would have said, you're absolutely insane, get out of here. Well, I went to go see this with my buddy, and I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. I don't know if it's just the way that this movie orchestrates itself, that it very much aligns with my values and how I go about life, or just the fact that I loved the acting in it, and I love the very simplistic style, like redemption hero kind of story. I love that David Harbour is in this movie. I think that's fantastic. I love just how it doesn't need to be this huge thing. It's just very, this is a story about him, and this is what we're gonna do. And to me, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. It also gave me a little bit of flashbacks, if I'm being honest, to the Cars series. I think I just love racing movies in general now. So maybe I'll have to check out more racing movies from now on. At number 5, I have John Wick 4. I was already a big fan of the first 3 John Wick movies. Going into this, I thought, well, gee, what's gonna happen in this? Because at the end of the 3rd one, you know, he gets banned from the Continental, and he's pretty much has everyone hunting for him. He's an open contract, right? This movie is just so, it's badass. It really is. And from the moment where you're globetrotting around the world to I believe they go to Japan or China, I forget which one it is, and then, you know, to Paris, France, and to just all these different places and all these different cultures, and to see how the high table like deals with like different parts of the world and like how it's received there is really interesting. Like how like the weapon of choice in certain areas is like sword, or like some kind of huge gun, or just, you know, it's very cool. It's very cool. And aside from that, the stairs scene, and amongst others, probably my favorite scene in this movie is when he's in like that big circle, I forget what it's called, where it's like all the cars are coming at him, and he's like in the car. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that part. Shout out to the one guy, I don't know what his name is, but he has like the dog with him. Easily my favorite character in the movie. So that's why John Wick comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, I have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. My whole thing with these movies is that I think that Tom Cruise at times gets a little too much hate. And I understand, you know, if you disagree with him in some things, that's totally fine. But for me, I can't deny just how great he is as an action star. He really is great as an action star. And he knows those beats to hit. He knows, just, I don't know, just something about his presence in this movie just really just did it for me. Aside from that, one big surprise, I actually didn't know this going in at first. Pom Klementieff, obviously, who plays Mantis in the Guardians of the Galaxy series, plays a fantastic role in this. She's very silent most of the time. Silent but deadly, because she quite literally is just trying to murder him in this whole movie. So that's fun. I also just enjoyed like Haley Atwell and Vanessa Kirby and all these other characters in this movie, alongside the actual main plot of the movie. And as we enter our top 3, don't forget to leave your top 3 down below, or just your top 10 in general. Let me know what movies you love this year, and just keep in mind, this is my list. It's not the right list, it's just my opinion. So don't go crazy on me in the comment section. And let's dive into our final 3 here. Coming in at number 3, I have The Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I am a huge fan of the Hunger Games series, probably more than the average person. And I just, like, I already knew going into this from the trailers. I actually have the trailer reactions on my channel, and if you've seen them, you know that I was hyped from the very beginning. From the first trailer, I thought it looked fantastic. Little did I know this would become part of my top 3 for the year. I went to go see this 3 times in theaters, and every time, I kid you not, it got better and better and better. From just how different and like it has that dystopian feel, while also feeling like refreshing and new almost. Because we're obviously used to the very technological savvy Panem in the four main Hunger Games movies. Well, in this, you get a very still dystopian style, but like retro style, and it's very neat looking. From the old monitors that they all have like when they're watching the games, to just like how donations work, and to how the arena is. Like it's how it's not this very sophisticated arena. It's quite literally somewhere like it's an old building. And then it even gets crashed into, and they still have the Hunger Games. Finally, I do want to add, I just love all the performances in this movie, especially Cornelius Snow. I would absolutely love to see more Hunger Games movies in the future. But as my runner-up, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. One of those movies just that made me sob my eyes out in theaters, watching and getting to see what happened to Rocket before he joined the Guardians, and why he had so much built-up anger, and why he had so much pain, to even the whole thought of Drax calling him Furman in Guardians 1, and just why he is such an integral part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. For me, this movie just... Guardians 1 was so good because it was a fresh take, and it was characters that we really didn't know. Guardians 3 solidifies that and says, yes, these are the characters that you grew up loving, especially if you grew up in the early 2000s to maybe 2010s, right? And we're going to see this journey end. We're going to see this journey end. And who knows, they might come back, but this is where our main Guardians of the Galaxy end. And it just makes you feel so much like you're part of the family. You genuinely feel you're on the ship with them. You see how they treat each other. And it's not always all lovey and dovey. Sometimes it's real and raw, and they, and that's the parts that I enjoy, because then it just feels like a real family. But my favorite movie of 2023 has to be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I went to go see this multiple times in theaters with my friend, and I had a blast every single time. What I told my friend about this movie is that you notice how like in every movie there's that usually that portion of the movie where you're like, man, I wish I was in a different part of the movie right now. You know what I mean? Like I wish something else, the part that I like was happening. Well, that never happened to me in this movie. In fact, the whole soundtrack takes this movie from already being fantastic to just over the top for me. I listened to so much of the soundtrack, including Self-Love by Metro Boomin, which is my absolute favorite. And just the different animation styles that we get in this are just... Even if I'm not watching the movie, I will sometimes look them up to look at them. My favorite has to be Gwen Stacy's world with all the pastel colors, and how like the emotion in her world translates to things changing. Just easily has to be my favorite film of the year. So there you go, guys. That is my top 10 movies of the year. Like I said before, if you want to leave your top 10 down below, letting me know, what are your favorite movies of the year. Like I said, I'll also be posting my top 10 least favorite movies of the year. So definitely stay up to date if you want to check that out. And also stay on the lookout. Next week, I will be posting all of the Echo reactions coming out on Disney+. So definitely stay tuned for that. And I will see you in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.